With political parties and Nigerians already looking forward to the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is not resting on its oars. Validation of the National Voter Register to include more eligible voters, as well as expand voters' access to polling units, is already in the works. Just today, INEC commenced the continuous voter registration exercise, which will be done online across the country. The Commission says the new policy is meant to reduce crowds at registration centres in line with COVID-19 protocols. Now, what are the pros and cons of the online voter registration? And how will this process tackle electoral irregularities in the country? These are some of the issues that will occupy our guests on this edition of Nigeria Today. Welcome to the program. I am Dennis Adigunloye. All right, with me in the studio to discuss continuous voter registration, we have Nick Dazang. He is the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. You're very welcome to Nigeria Today, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And also joining us here is Jide Ojo, our Public Affairs Analyst. Jide, you're welcome once again to Nigeria Today.
Good evening, Dennis. Good evening, Nigerians. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, let me come to Mr. Nick first. Today is the first day of the continuous voter registration. How long will this exercise last, and what are the feelers from the registration centres?
Thank you very much. In the small hours of today, Monday 28th June 2021, we began the continuous voter registration exercise online. And the design is to ensure that this online registration continues until we are able to flag off the recommencement of the physical or in-person registration on the 19th of July 2021. Now, before now, the Commission had conducted continuous voter registration exercise on 27th April 2017 until, in August 2018, shortly before the conduct of the 2019 general elections, when we suspended the exercise.
Yeah.
Now, in recommencing the exercise, apart from appearing physically at the centers to register, which we did in 2017 and in other previous years, there's a novelty now, which is the online registration.
Yeah.
You log into our CVR portal, and the portal is very friendly, very interactive. You log in through cvr.anecnigeria.org, and then of course there's another address, cvr.anec.gov.ng. And as soon as you log in, you now open an account with your name or your email address, and the information that you ordinarily would have given if you were doing physical registration, which is your name, your address, your age, your nationality, and so on, will be captured in the course of the online registration. And at the end of the exercise, you'll be given a slip. Yeah. And you will now also be given an appointment, right, after which you will, appear at our designated centers to now have your biometrics and your facials captured. Now, what we are trying to do is to ensure that these appointments, the initial appointments, coincide, with the 19th of July, when we are reflagging the physical or in-person registration. Now, the question would be, why is INEC flagging the exercise in phases? It is doing so because after due consultation with stakeholders, and the fact that the Commission also lays high premium on the lives of its staff, and the very expensive equipment that it is deploying for this exercise, it was able to forge a consensus with these stakeholders that in view of the security situation in the country, we need to do the exercise in phases. We roll in and then we roll out depending on our evaluation of the security situation. And you agree with me that for the online registration, no risks are posed to the individual in terms of attacks that can be visited physically, and also the individual is not exposed to any challenges like COVID. So you do this exercise seamlessly from the comfort of your house with either your Android or your computer, so long as you have internet connectivity. And you access the portal and you commence registration. And as I said, this online registration is very friendly, it's very interactive. And before I came here, we have had robust and muscular registration, taking place across the country. And this is adjudged by the kind of feedback we were able to harvest from the INEC Citizens Contact Center. So I think the exercise is in fine fettle. The response is robust, and for now we have not had any issues or glitches with the exercise.
All right, that's very, very good to hear. All right, Julia, what are your thoughts on this novel idea that has come out from the Commission?
Well, it's early in the day to commend INEC. With Mr. Dazan said they've not had any negative report thus far. I think because many Nigerians are yet to be abreast about this, I don't think we have done sufficient voter education for people to know. I know maybe because I'm like a member of the family, I'm aware. And but what about those ordinary citizens? I believe as of now, the Commission should have rolled out robust voter education to enable many Nigerians to start, because I feel we should not, Nigerians have this attitude of till the last minute. So if they think that this exercise will be on for the next 1 year, they say, what the haste? What's the haste? But when you now have the deadline approaching, that's when you see
mass turnout.
The mass turnout, then the INEC website will start jamming, people will not be able to log on and all of that. So, yes, I appreciate the enormity of the effort of the Commission to be in compliance with COVID-19 principle. Recall that we were part of the reason why the national identification number registration exercise, which was rolled out last year, was heavily criticized, was because it was not, it didn't take cognizance of the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people were cross-screened around the registration centers and having difficulties getting registered. But with this, I think INEC learned from the challenges that the organization registering people for national identification number encountered, and decided to have pre-registration. This is the first time in the history of the Commission that they will have the pre-registration, online pre-registration exercise, which I hope will be robust. Unfortunately, I'm not eligible because I've already registered way back in 2011. And I think many Nigerians, part of what they need to know is that, look, if you have registered previously, you should not register now. INEC has already harvested 84 million registrants. They are not throwing that away. This is not a fresh registration exercise. This is a continuous, that's the name, continuous voter registration. So it's going to continue from where the Commission stopped in August of 2018. And it is meant for only people 18 years and above, or those who have not previously registered. However, part of the activities that will be going on simultaneously is, one, if you want to transfer your registration details, maybe you have moved to residence, you were once living in Akure, you are now in Abuja, you want to move your registration details to Abuja, there is an opportunity to apply. Then if you have error on your previous information, that's maybe your name was misspelled, maybe your address or any other details about you, this is an opportunity for you to rectify those errors. If your permanent voter's card has been defaced or it has been lost, this is an opportunity for you to get a replacement. All of this information need to be out there. Maybe I wasn't checking well, but at least I've not traveled out of the country. I suppose by now the Commission should have rolled out robust, voter education that will tell people who are the people who are eligible, what time for instance, people have been asking me, do they need name registration to be able to register for this voter education? Voter registration. Recall that they are asking that against the backdrop of what the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, was doing early this year, when it insisted that unless those who want to write JAMB as new registration, they cannot write this JAMB. So Nigerians are wishing to know, do they need to have registered previously with NIN for them to be eligible to register for this voter registration? These are some of the things I think the Commission, as commendable, as laudable as the effort is, because I see this as preparatory to 2023.
All right.
It's best for that robust voter education to be launched.
All right, let's bring that to Mr. Nick. How far are we with voter education with regards to all those issues that Mr. Jide has raised?
Yes,
do we have to register NIN and that kind of thing?
I'm glad you raised that because if he had visited our platforms, he would have seen quite a number of messages, that have inundated them. The platforms, our website, platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and so on, are awash with these messages. And the messages also address some of these issues he has raised as to whether NIN is mandatory. It is not.
Right.
The requirements for registration are initiated in Section 10 of the Electoral Act as amended. And of course, until that section of the law is amended to include making NIN mandatory, the Commission shall not and cannot, compel Nigerians to register based on NIN as a prerequisite. But in the meantime, there are other requirements, as enunciated in this section that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
So that is that. But as to voter education, we are taking steps to ensure that Nigerians are educated as much as possible on this process. A voter registrar is a precursor, it's a precondition, for participatory democracy. And we appreciate that, and we lay a lot of premium on this. And that is why, we are going out of our way to ensure that Nigerians are educated as much as possible. As to the fact that we have more than 84 million Nigerians on the register of voters and still counting, does not mean that Nigerians should not come out in large numbers to register.
All right,
but what I want to emphasize is that multiple registration is an offense. If you are registered before, you don't need to register again because we have you on our database. If you have issues such as damaged cards, or you want to transfer your registration, or your name was misspelled in the past, you can use the opportunity of this CVR exercise to correct these mistakes.
Yep.
But on our part as a commission, we are projecting that at the end of the exercise in 2022, we should have registered another 20 million Nigerians. Now, this is based on the fact that In 2017 alone, when we conducted this exercise, we were able to register more than 14 million Nigerians. And now that we are using, two methods of registration, which is the online and the in-person registration, we expect that, more Nigerians, particularly those that are internet savvy, will take advantage of this exercise to register.
All right.
Also,
let me just pause you there. We have to go on a quick break, but I'll come straight back to you afterwards. You're on to Nigeria Today. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. You're on to Nigeria Today. If you are just tuning in, we are discussing the continuous voter registration exercise. We have Nick Dazang in the studio, Director of Voter Education and Publicity of INEC, and also Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst. Mr. Nick, I think we've pretty much understood the ins and outs of what you were saying earlier. Let me ask you this question. We understand that INEC has acquired a new device known as the INEC Voter Enrollment Device for this exercise. Will it be replacing, or that will be replacing, the direct data capture machine? Can you just highlight for us the differences between both devices?
Yes, we intend that by and by we deploy the INEC Voter Enrollment Device. This is an Android operating system. It comes in the form of a tablet. It is more rugged than the direct data capture machines.
Right.
The DDCMs, that is the direct data capture machines that we used in 2011 and 2017, made up of a laptop and peripherals. Now we intend to use an Android operating system in the form of a tablet that is more rugged, that can withstand the elements, and as opposed to the DDCMs. And it is convenient to carry. It's portable.
Okay.
And it has features that makes it easy for us to charge, and it also has a backup. We intend that after the initial deployment of the DDCMs, we will now retrieve the DDCMs and deploy the INEC voter enrollment devices across the centers in the country. And this is one of the reasons for which we are insisting, based on the consensus we fought with stakeholders, that the exercise should be phased, and we should be able to evaluate the safety of our staff and the equipment before we deploy. A large amount of money was spent, in designing and fabricating these IVETs. Let me use this opportunity to underscore the fact that the IVET, like the smart card reader before it, was designed by our engineers in-house. And you could see that the smart card reader that preceded or came before the IVET could withstand some of the vagaries of the elements, heat, lack of electricity, and so on, for the period that we have deployed it. And we intend that, in addition to using the INEC voter enrollment devices to capture the biometrics of voters, during the voter registration exercise, in 2023 we will also deploy it to accredit voters before they cast their votes.
All right. Is it a replacement for the card reader?
Yes, by then it should be able to replace the smart card reader. Don't forget that when the smart card reader was designed and deployed, our intentment was to use it for a certain period of life, of time. As you well know, systems such as that have shelf lives, a maximum 4 or 5 years. We have used the smart card reader for 10 years and counting. and we've tried to upgrade it. And in the course of upgrading it, we saw that it will still have challenges, you know, with its fidelity, with its faithfulness in terms of, you know, authenticating and verifying voters. So what we did was to challenge our engineers to now design the INEC voter enrollment device, which is superior to the smart card reader. And the difference now between the smart card reader is that the biometrics and the facials that will be captured will be embedded not in the permanent voter card, but now in the INEC voter enrollment device.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jide, you were bringing up some potential issues or challenges that the online registration may pose. Some people might be expressing reservations that with regards to network connections in most parts of Nigeria, such as satellite towns or the villages. There's also potential fears that there may be an insertion of fictitious names into the INEC register. How, in your opinion, foolproof would this whole process be, Mr. Jide?
Well, I don't work for INEC, but I have faith and confidence, trust in the system. Because the one thing about INEC is it's not a perfect organization, but it's a learning organization.
Yep.
It's an organization that takes criticism in good faith and improve. If you look at where we are coming from, even this issue of voter registration, people have forgotten that we started with OMR form. Just like in those days when you do JAMB and you shade the correct answers. That's where we came from. Then we have DDC registration in 2006, where it was corrupted with people cutting pictures and putting almanac pictures on the register, and INEC have to weed out hundreds of millions, several hundreds of thousands of those multiple and discredited registrants. But the one in 2011, which Professor Mahmood Yakubu, Professor Atairu Jega initiated in 2011, stood the test of time. Now we have an improvement with this current exercise by Professor Mahmood Yakubu. So it's a learning curve for INEC, and the improvement is on. But it cannot be, my comment earlier on was to say it is too early in the day to laud that, oh, this exercise is successful, is without fault. Today is the first day of that exercise, and only very few people will log in at this point. But as that message gets on, and Mr. Dazan doesn't seem to have understood when I said robust voter education, I'm talking of launching that voter education not only on social media, but also in the orthodox and conventional media, so that ordinary people who are not social media savvy can also learn and know how to engage the process.
All right.
But having said that, I think the point has to be made that it's not only online, there will be in-person registration. Whether he made it very abundantly clear that if you are not ICT savvy, you wait for the time when INEC will announce the date and places for in-person registration. So you still have the opportunity to do the manual capturing of your registrations.
All right, our time is fast up, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Nick will take those issues on board.
You are not actually fair to Jide.
Very briefly, sir.
Yeah, because I think for those who don't have internet access or who are not internet savvy, they can take advantage of the physical or in-person registration. But let me say that apart from the fact that the online registration is interactive and friendly, it allows for you to begin the process and complete it at some other time. For example, if you are going through the process and you have challenges, you can suspend it and come back to it. So we are conscious of these challenges, you know, in our own climate, that even the internet facility is not that potent or powerful all the day round.
Absolutely.
So once it weakens, you can suspend it and then go back to it. And you know, it also provides for you to schedule an appointment after you've finished the process as to when you can appear for the physical registration when you complete the registration by getting your facials and your
biometrics,
you know, yes, captured.
All right, time is up, but definitely we'll be keeping ourselves abreast of how the exercise is going. Mr. Nick Dazang, it's been a pleasure having you on the program to educate us on the process of this online voter registration. Nick Dazang, Director of Voter Education and Publicity, INEC. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks also to Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst, as usual, for your insights and observations. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks also to you out there for watching. Nigeria Today is live every weekday at 7:30 in the evening. Also watch this and other editions on youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Dennis Adegunloye. Thanks for your company.